Hi Floss Tube, my name's Dana and my channel name is Gemstone Stitches. I'm coming to you from sunny Vermont. We have a beautiful, beautiful day today. It is officially springtime in Vermont. I believe the only precipitation that we're gonna get is gonna be rain, none of the other stuff for quite some time. I don't mind the snow, but around mid-March, I'm ready for it to be springtime. So things are blooming, leaves are on the trees. I had some daffodils. They're kind of on their way out, but now the tulips that I have are out and beautiful. I think I'm gonna plant some more this fall because not as many popped up as I would have liked to see. Okay, so I have a finish, a few whips and some starts. Yeah, and I decided to do a Mirabilia May. So there will be some Mirabilias in this video. Before I do that though, I do want to do a couple shout outs for a couple ladies who have been really great supporters of my channel. Comment every video or almost every video, and they also gave me a shout out on their Floss Tube channels. The first one is Nina, and her channel name is Nina Hobby Site. So you can go check her out there, Nina Hobby Site. She's from Norway, and she has a lot of full coverages. She has different projects as well, but she has a good chunk of full coverage projects, which I find amazing. And she's stitching the stitching shelf, which I really want to stitch someday, max color and supersized. So that's pretty awesome. And then she also has a Josephine wall, which is the very first full coverage I started, was a Josephine wall, but hers is a different one. But you can tell it's a Josephine wall because she's a distinct artist. You know when you see a Josephine wall, and they are notoriously confetti heavy. So I love watching other people make some progress on those Josephine walls. She also does some knitting. So go check Nina out. Thank you, Nina, so much. And then the other floss tuber is Leah, and her channel name is Rhubarb Patch Studio. She's been around for a while, and she has a lot of wonderful projects, all sorts of different things. Mainstream designers, and then some designers I've never heard of. She has all different types of projects. Of course, I love her drawn threads. Leah, I think you're enabling me to get, I think it's called the Annual Blossom by the Drawn Thread. I saw you show that in your whip parade, and of course, I love it. And I like that you mentioned you can buy kits from the Drawn Thread. I did not realize that. And I like that idea because a lot of time Drawn Threads use dinky dyes or needlepoint silks, which are kind of pricey. And if they're going to give you just the amount of thread that you need to complete the project, that's great, because sometimes you really don't use a lot of those threads and they kind of just sit in your stash. So yeah, I might go ahead and purchase that kit and stitch that with you. Also, Leah has completed a stocking for her son, and it's one I haven't done before. It's really cute, and she's making her way through her next stocking, which I think is Candy Cane Santa. I did that one for my husband, so way to go. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Leah, for the shout out. I'm amazed by your ability to change colors. and the designs, rechart the designs the way that you want to see them finished. That is really awesome, and it's not an easy task. So go check those girls out. Thank you so much. All right, let's get on to my update, I guess. The first thing is ink circles, forest flower. That's what the original design looked like. It's kind of the browns and teals. And I changed the colors. I did use the Gentle Arts threads mostly, and there's a couple DMCs in there. I brought this with me to Texas, and when I got home, I wasn't done yet. So I went ahead and I finished it at home. So here it is. It is a tiny one. I stitched it on 32 count smoky pearl Belfast linen. And this color here is like a dark purple blue. And then there's a couple greens and this really beautiful teal. And the DMC colors is this lighter green that goes around, and then this purple that you see in different spots. So I don't know if I mentioned, I stitched it 1/1 on 32 count. So it's very teeny tiny. You're supposed to stitch it 2/2. That's what it calls for. So it would be, you know, twice this size. I plan to FFO this into a little pillow, and I'm going to put beads all the way around. So beads on. I saw another floss tuber finish her projects like that, and it is right up my alley. So I need to pick a pretty bead to go around. So that is a finish, yay! Pretty cute. The other one I brought with me to Texas, but I didn't stitch there. So I decided to give it a few days here at home, was this one right here. It's this little heart, and it's called, I don't know how to say it, Coeur and Rouge, Coeur and Rouge. So I guess that would translate to heart in red. It's by Sue Hillis Designs. And I changed the colors to be a red and a pink and DMC. And I think it's a 28 count even weave of some sort. This pink, mauve pink color. So the outline is going to be the brighter pink, and the inside will be red. So another just small design. I can't decide if I'm going to finish this one into a heart pillow. Yeah, I don't know. If someone has a really good tutorial that seems like I could potentially follow it, I'll do that. If not, I might just do a square pillow and put the beads around it again. I don't know, I kind of like what this little box, stand-up box they have going on too. That's cute. So we'll see what I end up doing with that. It's a slow, I mean, I worked on this, it felt like a good chunk of time, and it's such tiny stitches that it takes a lot longer than I expect. Okay, next is my Esther's Waves by Northern Expressions Needlework. And last time you saw this project, I had finished all the stitching, all the specialty stitches, and I was ready to start beading. Yay, finally! And when I brought it out, I I had bought a bunch more beads that I thought would go better than what was called for at a needlepoint store a while back when I was in Texas. And I started looking at them, and I still wasn't like 100% satisfied on all the different colors, because there's, I don't know, probably 12 different colors of DMC. I use DMC for this pattern. So then that means I need 12 different colors of beads. So some of the beads I had, I thought perfect. Some of the beads, I thought, no, that still doesn't really work. Not only that, I still had some that were like seed beads rather than, and then some that were like delica shape, which is more of a flat rounded shape, whereas seed beads are more all round. So I thought, geez, there's no continuity. They're not all the same. So I went on another big search for beads, which wasn't easy because I don't have an LNS anymore. And I have to do it all online. Mill Hill is basically out of stock of everything. So luckily, I think, is the company Delica? I don't know. Delica beads, size 11 was what I needed to search for. And they have everything in stock, mostly everything in stock that you need. The only thing you need to watch out for is you might find a bead that you love, and for some reason it's like $47 for a little pack of beads. So you got to make sure you're looking for the beads that are like $3 to $5, not accidentally put one in your cart that's like $40 and then you have to put it back out of your cart because you're not going to spend $40-something on some beads. So anyhow, while that order was coming in, I did get started with the colors I knew I liked and were going to work. So I don't know if you can tell. Ooh, yeah, some sparkle. So I have this Jessica stitch has a bead nestled in. And then this orange Jessica stitch has a bead nestled in. And then the yellow band has all the beads on. So you can definitely see that sparkle. So it took me a good chunk of time to get these done. The Jessicas, of course, went, I did it in one night, that row, and did that one in another night. And then this one took me probably 3 or 4 nights to get them all done. Because there's 16 plus 24 beads in each one of these. And I do use the Nymo thread for the beading on this one. Where is that? Just this little spool. It's called Nymo, N-Y-M-O, for my beading. I have used clear thread before, invisible thread. I think I used that on my chatelaine. But this, I found this one first, and I thought I'll just use it, and it works well. You can't see it. So what I need is only Delica beads or Magnifica beads, and I think, unfortunately, none of the reds ended up working out, but I got like my green for here, and then this green in here, this orange up here, this like darker cranberry type red up here. So I still need this brighter red and maybe one other, can't remember if I have one other color that I'm searching for. Oh, can't wait to get back to that and put another few rows of beads in. I feel like I have something, oh there it is. Clean up here a little bit. And I use the tacky bob for my beads. So you can see, I think that's all that I have left. No, I still have a little bit of yellow left. There'll be plenty of yellows to do my band of Jessica stitch, but here's the pretty orange and the brownish orange over here. Okay, the next one that I brought out to work on is by the Drawn Thread called Welcome Spring. Super cute. I already finished winter during the winter season, so I'm hoping I can finish spring during the spring season. I'm stitching it on 30 count, let's see, Mariner's Map Legacy Linen, 2/2, and here is how far I got. So I finished the W, the E, the L, and the C. So I only have O, M, E to go. I am thinking about doing a light gray stitch around the bunny just because he kind of gets a little lost on the fabric. Looking like he shows up pretty well here in the video. But maybe just a light gray to define him a little more, because when you pull back, you can kind of see how he gets lost in there. And he's so cute. We want to see him. This uses a lot of dinky dyes and a couple needlepoint silks. But then for the yellows, there's a couple yellows in these flowers. Yeah. And then in the tulip here, those are just DMC that I picked because I didn't have the needlepoint silks, and I didn't want to spend $12 and order them when I have plenty of threads to choose from in my stash. I'm almost done kitting up all the DMC. I almost have the whole line of DMC. I think if I do one more trip and purchase the last chunk of like maybe 30, 40 DMCs, I will have all of them. So yeah, get back to that before spring is over to do the robin and then the robin eggs, the nest. Looks like there's some fun specialty stitches in here, and that is a pretty, I don't know, I can't remember if that's dinky dye or I don't know. This flower here and this, the eggs are the same threads, and they're different. Let me see if I have it real quick. Bear with me. So Thread Gatherer Grape Meringue, and the blue one, I guess is I thought it was a thread gatherer too, but I guess it's not. It looks like it's Dinky Dye's Ghost Gum, which looks a little different. There's not a lot of variation in it, and it's not as bright as the picture, but that's for the eggs. And then this grape meringue is silken colors. And it's this really pretty, it goes from really light purple to a bright bluish purple to like these pink fuchsias. Very fun thread. I think the Drawn Thread likes that because I had purchased that for another project that I did. One of the, maybe the spring house or the summer house or something had that color in there, and I loved it. Oh yeah, and I should mention that these are Smyrna. That's where it is. So the variation used like that bluish purple on into the fuchsia. And these are little Smyrnas. And I think, yeah, that's all of the specialty stitches so far. Get into some more specialty stitches in the O and the M. All right, so then this is where Maynia starts. And I think it wasn't quite May. I just got too excited before I started some Mirabilias. I've been watching Samantha, the Huga Stitcher. Check her out. She's just a joy to watch. I love listening to her talk, and I love all the projects that she's working on. She has an amazing Owl Forest embroidery Emerald City where she is putting sparkly threads and beads in it. You should see the Emerald City. It's just stunning. It just pops. So I really love what she's doing there. And she is a longtime Mirabilia stitcher. That's where she started, and that's her favorite, or one of her favorite designers to this day. And I watched her videos and she kept showing them, and I thought, oh, I just love those Mirabilias. It makes me want to stitch mine. And then she mentioned Fiber Arts Amy, I think, and how she shows all these Mirabilias. I thought, well, let me check that out. And Fiber Arts Amy actually showed May's Emerald Fairy Finished, which is one of mine, and it was so beautiful. It's just, the little photos on the front of Mirabilias don't show how pretty it will be when it's finished. And yeah, it just got me really motivated to do my Mirabilias, and so I decided I'm gonna do Mirabilia May. I had done this a couple years ago where I only started 2, and at that time I only had 2 Mirabilias, and they were the fairies for my daughters, and I have to restart them. I had started them, now I'm restarting them, but then I have acquired a handful more Mirabilias, so I'm going to try to start them all this month. So I'm in the middle of doing that. The first one I started was September Sapphire Fairy by Mirabilia. So she is this beautiful, almost has like a kimono type dress on with this bright greens and purples and blues. Very pretty. And when I started it last, I started in the middle and I was in this green area. But this time I decided to start on the bottom, the very bottom, and work my way up. So here it is. And it might not look like a lot, but this was a lot of stitching. It took me a long time to get this much done. These are there's like a navy, and then it goes into the lighter and lighter blues, and then the very dark one is a dark brown. And there is a Karen Water Lily called for in this, which I noticed has like the blues on into almost a brown color. Kind of is coming out gray, maybe it is a little gray, blue gray, brown, which I think is so cool because it kind of just really uses a lot of the DMC colors that are down here. But it's funny, I looked at the pattern, I was like, where am I supposed to use the Karen water lilies? I thought at some point it would be brought in down here in the bottom of her dress, but it's not till I think in her wing up here that that gets used. So all this is just DMC. I'm right here in this big part of the dress. I think I haven't even gotten over into this edge quite yet. Oh no. Okay, yeah, so I kind of got all the way up to this lighter color. I haven't done that whole part, and then I haven't gotten all the way over here yet. So this big chunk down here is where I am at. So it's a good start. And this is, the fabric is 32 count Bittersweet Light Joblin. Bittersweet Light. So it's an orange, peaches and cream type color. I thought this would, you know, the blues and the greens would pop off of here, and also there's some oranges. I hope her skin doesn't get lost on here, but we'll see. So that is Mirabilia start number 1. And this one is May's Emerald Fairy for my daughter Tinsley, who actually just turned 5 on May 4th. She's a sweet looking fairy. And I'm stitching her on 28 count Graceful Gray linen. And I decided to start at the top with this one rather than the bottom. And look what I have done. Oh. I have her face done. Kind of see some. Let me put something behind here. Okay. I feel like there's something on her cheek right here. But there she is. She is just very sweet and beautiful. I did change this quite a bit. Not very obvious changes, but I made her a lot softer. So her nose is supposed to, sorry, I just hit the camera. Her nose is supposed to be like straight down and up, like, and I kind of rounded it out a little more and kind of had it go in a little bit and up into her eyebrow. Made it a little softer. And then the eyebrow, I definitely took liberties. It's just supposed to be like a line and a line, and then one tiny line here. I did 2 or 3 different lines and had it come out further down. Yeah, and then the eyes are pretty blue, emeraldy blue, and there was, again, just, you are supposed to use 2 strands for the eyelashes, but it's hard to see, but this eyelash comes out 3, and then I added 2 eyelashes on this side. Now, the very odd thing about the chart is for the lips, it called for, I believe, 3811. And I checked it online to see if I mislabeled my bobbin or what. Because when I pulled out 3811, it's a very light blue. So then I decided, okay, I look at the front cover, like, does she have blue lips? And you can't really tell, but I really don't think that they're blue lips. Sorry, it's hard to see this. So I went into my stash and I found a pink. I pulled out what it called for the back stitch part of the lip, and then I just found a bright pink to go with it. And again, I put some extra little half stitches in the lip in different spots and added a little bit of extra back stitch around just to make them more rounded, and I don't know how to describe it, but just more toward my liking. And I love her. I think she's so pretty. The hair is going to have tons of beads, and I think there's a big treasure right there. I did do 1/1 half stitches with 2 strands. So okay, I didn't do 1/1. Let's scratch that. Okay, I used 2 strands of thread over 1 strand of fabric in a half stitch only. I didn't do a full cross. So I decided to go for it. It was a hard decision because you hear the different sides of the story. You watch floss tubers across the board who do Mirabilias, and half of them do the 1/1 or 2 half crosses, 2 strands with half cross over 1. And then you have the other half people who just do as charted, which is like 2 strands over 2, just like the rest of the project. And I thought, why don't I just go for it? I could try it, and if I don't like it. It was a little tough for me because I do find that it doesn't always come out as smooth as you would think. Like, you can even tell in other people's, but I believe it's because of the fabric, especially when it's linen with the little flubs. Like, you can't get it to be perfectly smooth unless maybe you're on an even weave. So that's something I need to take into consideration in the future, is maybe only, do Mirabilias on even weave if I want to do the skin like that, so that it's smoother. Because if you were really, really close, you could see right underneath her eye, there's like a thicker slub in the linen. But from far away, you really just can't tell. So I just love her little floating head. So that's my start on her. That was a good chunk, a week of stitching maybe. And oh my gosh, is she so sparkly when she's finished. All right, and then I got one little bitty start. Last night I started this project. It's Rapunzel by Mirabilia. And Samantha Huga Stitcher's stitching this one, which made me want to start it. I bought this one because my daughter loves Rapunzel right now. And our last name begins with an R, so there's that. Yeah, stitching Rapunzel on, oh, I didn't write it down. Okay, on 32 count Smoky Pearl Belfast, which is the same as this fabric. So yeah, just one night of stitching, 1 strand of floss, which is this. I'm starting at the top and gonna do the R. And this is such a fun color of thread. It's 3607, I believe. It's a really bright, beautiful pink. Started there, stitching at 2/2 on 32 count. So that's where I'm at. Just these like, bright pinks that are gonna be around the R. Lots of greens. Then there's little flowers all around. This is like just a brown thread. I don't think any of the sparkly parts come in, except maybe in the R. There's, I don't know, there might be some beads in there. But I thought this would be a sparkly thread maybe, but it's not, which is okay. So that is what I'm gonna be working on for the next like 5 days or something, because I still have to start Sleeping Princess. Another one with really pretty bright pinks, some pretty colors in there. And then I have the Tea Mermaid, Letters from Mermaids by Nora Corbett. Tea for I have my daughter Tinsley and my daughter Tessa. So I was thinking about stitching this twice and then maybe changing the colors up. We'll see. And then last is this Cream and Sugar by Nora Corbett, which is these cute teacups. So that will finish out May for me. I am getting a little I do enjoy being a monogamous stitcher. I love seeing the progress, and so it is a little bit hard for me to stop stitching on something to, you know, be on a schedule and start something. I feel like I want to stitch on things a little bit longer, but I am having fun. That being said, I'm having fun. When I was in Texas, I did stop off at Hobby Lobby. They actually have a Hobby Lobby now in Vermont. They didn't until just a few weeks ago. It's not right by my house though. We haven't been yet. So when I was in Texas, we stopped there real quick because we were getting something else. I was helping my sister get something else, I think. Oh no, she was getting a frame. We were going to look at frames. And then we started looking at the scrapbooking stuff. Anyway, of course I wanted to head to the cross-stitching section because I had heard from some other people's channels that Hobby Lobby was like clearancing a bunch of stuff. And I thought, well, maybe I can find a little bit, but they didn't have any. So what I did get was these little needle holders. This is for my beading needles. This is for 28 and this is for 26, which is the main sizes that I use for my needles. And I thought I can put that in my little bag so that I'm not, the way I was storing my needles before wasn't really the best. So that's a good plan for those. And then I also got this little book. It's 136 alphabet charts by Leisure Arts. And I thought this would be helpful, of course, for any time that we're trying to add some words onto a chart, or maybe even design our own little chart. Can draw from 136 options in here. So that's cool to have on hand. And then I made a purchase on 123 Stitch for, I think, a piece of fabric or something. And of course I got to looking at charts and stuff. This one I got for my stepmother-in-law. It's just a tiny one called Quirky Quaker #2 Hedgehog. So isn't he cute? She collects hedgehogs in her little powder room. She has this shelf with all different types of hedgehogs. Some of them are really weird looking. And some of them are just super, super cute. And I thought I could stitch this real small and add it to her collection. They are very creative people and they always make gifts. So this will be something easy I could do and they would appreciate that. And then also the same family, they have a lake house and they call it camp. But anyway, I've always wanted to stitch something for this lake house because it was built in 1898. And I thought they need a cross stitch in there. I don't think they have one. I definitely don't know of one. So I thought that could be a little contribution that I could make to the lake house. And this one says, the best memories are made at the lake. And it has a little loon in there, which they definitely have loons out there. And I was thinking of changing this to say camp. Like, the best memories are made at camp, maybe. And I'm not so sure how much I love that brownish variegated color they have for the loon. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a loon. If it's not, I want to make it a loon because that's what we see there. And they're darker color. They're like black to gray, and they have usually a red eye, I believe, maybe a white spot on them. I don't know. And they make this very distinct noise. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that, but yeah, at some point, yeah, I'd love to stitch this up and make it a little bit more personalized for their camp. Maybe even write their name. I'd have to ask her though, like what name they would want on there, what family name. And maybe like a date on there. Make it even more special. Another thing that I purchased that I have been forgetting to talk about because it's not in my hands to touch. It was a download that I haven't printed off yet. And it is, let me get my notes out because, okay. I got the whole set of mini masterpieces by, she's an Etsy designer, or that's where you can buy her stuff, is on Etsy. It's Nikki Pattern, Nikki Pattern on Etsy. And they're called mini masterpieces. I don't know if you guys have seen them. I've seen them popping up for a couple of years now or so. And they're just real small. And they're famous artworks, like the Starry Night, or Mona Lisa, or Monet's bridge with the lily pads. All sorts of famous paintings from history. And she charts them, and they're just, you can do them, and they're just these teeny tiny pieces called mini masterpieces. And I obviously will not stitch all of them, but there's a good chunk of them that I'd love to stitch because it just reminds me of when I was a kid. My mom and dad love art, and my dad is an artist, was an artist, I guess. And we would go to art museums on Sundays. Like, I didn't appreciate it as much when I was little, but now that I'm older and I think back, you know, those were fun times when we got in the car and drove off to the art museum for a certain show that was being displayed. And so anyway, I'd love to stitch some of those and somehow display them really, really neat around the house. I have to think of like a cool way to use those. One of these days I need to print, it's like you print it out and it's kind of like supposed to be a book, I guess, of all the charts. But I want to print it in color. We don't have a color printer at our house. So what I need to do is put it on a USB or something and take it down to get it printed. And then there's another chart that I haven't purchased yet, but I'm about, any minute now, I'm going to purchase it. I saw someone stitching this on one of the Facebook groups, and I found it. It's called Moroccan Lanterns. And again, this is on Etsy. You can look it up. It's by Vivsters, Vivsters, Vivsters Moroccan Lanterns. I'll put a picture in. So pretty. I love the colors, and I'm super drawn to that type of decor and those lanterns. You can like there's a lot of mosaic type lanterns that hang down, or you can get a lamp like that, that glass. Love that. And one day I'd love to have like a room just like Moroccan like that, or like my master bathroom or something just designed, because I love that pattern. And then I got the bejeweled elephant recently, which again has that feel that would match that decor. And I know there's a chatelaine, not the big one, but there are some smaller chatelaines that have that feel. I could have those few cross stitches, and one of these days and buy and invest in one of those beautiful hanging lamps. Woo. In my dream home, my future home, when we finally get our forever home, which won't be in this housing market, but soon enough. Yeah, I need to get me a Moroccan room. All right, that's everything I have to share. Yeah, gotta finish up May, and then we're into June. I don't really have any set plans as to what I'm gonna do after Mirabilia May's over. I know I wanna bead some more on my Northern Expressions Needleworks. I would love to get out my chatelaine and get some more progress on that. I would love to get some more progress on my Victorian dollhouse. So those might be the three. Oh, and of course I need to do my spring, finish my spring welcome, and start my lavender and lace spring Celtic lady. I'm still trying to narrow down my colors. I haven't started it yet, but I will start it before spring's over. And then July, I want to do Christmas in July, which I'm gonna work a little bit more on up on the rooftop and on my stocking. So that's what I'm thinking about moving forward. Life here is great. We're into that wonderful time of year where we're finally transitioning into spring, get to be outside more, see the neighbors more. Yeah, just like tonight, our neighbors are having like they're opening up their garage bar where we just sort of like hang out, the kids play, and on a Friday night you can just like crack open a drink or two and chill in the nice weather. So that's fun. Tinsley just had our 5th birthday party, and when our kids turn 5, that's usually when we will, or that is when we will start inviting friends over for a party. So we had that on Sunday. That was fun. End of school year. So Tinsley's gonna have her preschool graduation soon, because next year she's gonna start kindergarten. And then Ethan, in Vermont, they go to a different school starting in 3rd grade. So he's gonna get out of 2nd grade and go on to a new school for 3rd grade. And yeah, just enjoying Vermont summer. That's what we're gonna do. I hope everybody is doing well. I wanna thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will see you next time. Happy stitching. Bye.